Hey, Welsh Metals here. Today I will be painting a Planetary Empire's town ruins and mineral deposits hexagon tile. That's what these things are. It's a Hexagon Map Based Game. So it's sort of like how you would see it from really, really high up. So there's the town ruins. Try and focus on that a bit better. There we go. See all roads and stuff. Craters. Little crater in the corner. And there's the mineral deposits, or they could be rock outcrops or some such. Anyway, I'm painting these as a Agri-Desert, so that'll be a desert with green bits, sort of like seen on this picture here. The green bits. And desert. There's all the paints ready. I'll be doing a lot of dry brushing in this. What's dry brushing? Well, you'll find out. Because you'll see the technique repeated a few times. Put that out of the way. So, quite simple to paint these. So, using a standard brush to start with. So, I've got 3 colours of green. This is a dried up, dark sort of foresty green. Nothing major. So just dab it in there. This will be a dry brush, remember, so not much water. So I'll just do little patches of this green in irregular places. You don't want too much. And towards the edges, if possible. There's 3 there. Put some on a little bit here in the town. Make it a bit different, as I have another tile that's very similar to this. And out on the other side. Remember, this is an agri-desert, so there's lots of oases around, agricultural deserts. Lots of underground water sources. Big foresty areas. Among the deserts, so oases, that's the word. Desert oases. So, a few patches there with that dark sort of foresty looking green. I have a number of these tiles, so we'll be making a whole set of them. And probably various themes at that. This won't take long at all to dry. Shake up this pot. Different colour green, different shade. That's the colour of green you can see there. It's still a bit wet. Focus. It doesn't want to focus right now. Ah, there we go. Anyway, still a bit wet. Give that a couple of minutes. Maybe. I don't know, it takes seconds. It's a bit wet. It should be a bit more dry actually. Anyway, let's inspect some of the other tiles that I will be painting in the future. I've got 4 more here. There's the main piece. That's a spaceport or airport. A fortress on top of a hill. It's pretty cool. These are actually out of production and quite rare. I have another set, which I'll be doing in a completely different theme than the agricultural desert. I was thinking an ice world or an ash death world or something like that, something industrial. There's a defense line, lots of rivers on the back side. That's a terrain tile. You have gorges, or rivers again, and another defense line on the back, loads of craters there. These are pretty cool, as you can see. And another defense line, lots of craters, bit of town, and looks like more mineral deposits or rock outcrops on that side. There's little holes in these also for attaching things. There are actually little banners, flags. It's a bit wet this, so I'm going to have to use this as my palette. Work some of it off. Like even lighter dry brush. Irregular places over the top of the existing green. Just dabbing it on. Make sure it's sort of irregular. Oh crap, my brush flew away. Hello, Lucky. Rabbit on the floor, Lucky. I'll show her in a few if she's still around. Once I've done this, she keeps me company. I looks after her a lot. You'll find a video of her on my YouTube anyway, if you're interested in bunnies. She's a big squishy winter bunny at the moment, in hibernation mode. So keeps snuggling up to me. And she loves me doing stuff. So, that was the next shade of green. As you can see, the greens are building up. You'll see what I'm doing once this is done. Right, lightest green there. But next we'll be doing brown. So, mud brown, I guess you would call it. Nice blob of that. As we'll be using quite a lot of mud brown for this. All around the entire thing. I know it looks messy, but it will soon tidy up after it's had a nice dry brush all over. This will be the first layer of the deserty colours. You want to get it in there. Don't get all the town though, as the town itself will be greys and metallic sort of colours. The rim will also be painted. I've painted these before. They look fantastic when fully done, you will see. And I should be able to get this done by the end of the video, as it's drying quite quickly. Okay, that's that side done with the browns. Looks sort of weird at the moment, as you can see. Other side. Try and do this quite quickly as it goes. So it's drying quite quick. Dry brush faster. Painting at night since I have some free time. And I have good lighting anyway, good lighting devices. So you can see what I'm doing. It is winter anyway. So it gets dark early. And no way is summer forever. Everyone has a winter, I guess. Needs more brown on there. Actually absorbing quite a lot of paint, considering it's been undercoated already. There might be enough on the palette. The rims will be painted a different colour to make the rest stand out. As I said, these are a Hexagon based game, map game. It's actually pretty cool. Just search Planetary Empires in Google, you'll probably have the result, and you can download the booklet there, the booklet I was holding up, which is actually quite rare now, if you can find one at all, so pretty rare. So there's the browns done. Managed to do a good few stages in a short time. Put the brown on the way. Got the desert colour there, that'll come next, but let's do the green now. The lightest possible green. This is almost a lime sort of green colour. Won't need much at all of that since it'll be very, very bright. And there's also not too much on there. There we go. As you can see, it's very bright, but that will also be slightly neutralized by the desert, which you'll see later. Which I will be painting over the brown with a couple of different dry brushes. There will be a little bit of layering in this as well on the outer rim. So desert colour next. This is the main colour. Got two colours of desert colour here. Add most of that off the brush. Right over the brown, while dodging the green bits. It's fine if it don't look too thick. You do want it irregular, after all. Terrain is irregular colours, especially from high above. It's just mixes of greys, and if you're in a desert, I suppose there's a mix of yellows and also greys. And in this case, green. As you can see, it's looking a little bit more deserty now. The tongue will actually be greys. Next side, as these are dual-sided terrain tiles, which gives you sort of double the options, I guess, when setting up a map, since you can just flip them inside out and get a totally different map makeup. They're pretty cool, actually, as I keep saying. I'm a fan of these tiles, obviously. These mineral deposits I will be painting as emeralds, blue ones, to make them stand out. Suppose you could paint them as rock outcrops, if you so wish, but it's far less interesting than a load of emeralds or rubies or chunks of gold, for example. Not enough paint there. A little bit more. Got it. Just flicking it across and it'll pick up all the edges. Want a little bit of the brown still showing through. As you can see, it looks more deserty by the second. Hoping to finish this tile before the end of the video. So that's that desert layer done. There will only be another layer after that. So greys next. Yes, I know, grey. A drab, nasty colour. Indeed it is. But it is a city, and most cities in the future will be most definitely grey. So let's grey it up for this future city. These are Warhammer 30,000 tiles, although also Mighty Empires, games that don't actually exist anymore that I'm talking about. From my era, so the 1990s. Yes, that makes me over 30. So, I'm not a teenager painting these things. I've actually been painting them for longer than a good number of the new people of this world have even been in this world. It was a much different world back then. There was no internet. Yeah, no, imagine that. Everything was run by video. Anyway, there's the town. It's still a bit wet. Now, the gems on the other side, which will require multiple layers of blue. They will be layered, which means actual painting will be involved. So, move that grey out of the way. As I've shown before, there are many other tiles to paint. I'll be showing how to paint them. So I've got a sort of dark blue here. Suppose you call it an off ocean blue with a bit of purple in it maybe. So paint these rocks blue. And they will no longer be rocks, they will be mineral deposits of emeralds and sapphire. Blue ones. Sort of like, could be diamonds as well, I guess. You do get blue diamonds. Rarely, but you do. Close the pot. We'll be going over these with an even lighter blue to highlight them. Do want deserty looking on the sides as well, so don't have to do all of them. After all, a lot of the mineral deposits are rarely fully exposed. They're usually poking out of the ground in an irregular way. See, they paint up quite quickly and easily. I know the tile looks a little bit messy at the moment. That's because I have yet to reset all these colours with extra highlights and put the main desert colour on. Little slip happens, don't matter so much on these stones as the desert colour is yet to be applied for the final highlight. Lots and lots of dry brushing has gone down. And here there is some layering, which is what it sounds like, adding a layer of paint over a singular piece as opposed to using dry paint. It's quite watery. I've already pre-added water to this paint. The previous time, if I used any more of it, it'd sort of drip off, so it's quite watery. Goes a long way though, since only so many models use blue. Rather, I use a lot of non-blue colours. But it's winter and blue's very nice. Try and hustle this up. A few more mineral deposits left. You can see it makes them stand out lovely. Actually got another one of these town hexagon tiles which I will show at the end of the video, and I will also put it in the thumbnail probably, maybe this one, maybe both. Here's the mineral deposits done. As you can see, they look lovely in blue. They will be even more blue. Right now I must do the desert, and then I will finish up the town. The town ruins. Have I got black there? Yeah, I should have black paint. Need that for the inner rim. Black blue aside, where's the main desert colour? Literally desert yellow. Very similar to the last desert colour. Got a good dry brush of this. It's much more yellow, as you can see there. Very more sandy coloured, with the brown and the lesser yellow underneath. You've got the opinion of depth, which you're looking on it, which is why I'm using 3 different colours, brown and 2 different colours of yellow, because I want depth to this terrain tile. Suppose you could go depthless, but it wouldn't look very nice. Probably look very basic. Nobody likes that. You want it looking cool, after all. A bit more, other side. Doesn't matter to touch these rocks too much, as I've said. They will be getting an additional highlight. Bunny rabbit wants attention. She's making scratching noises. Oh. You know stuff's going on and wants to join in. Yes, I have a house rabbit. And don't like, well, I do like cats. I was going to say I don't like them, but I do like cats. They're floofy as well. Most people like floofy animals. Okay. Desertness applied. Ooh. Should be done in about several minutes. May need a little bit more of that. Do the town now. I'm going to put a little bit of metal on there too. Well, actually I'll do that after, because it will mix in. Dry brush it with a very light concretey grey. Pick out all these roads and ruins. Get a nice meaty amount on there. Make sure all the roads are nicely covered. I want to pick all them out after all. This is a very dry sort of paint. No need to water it down or anything. It's almost buttery inside of the pot. It's been dried. It's dried out. Specific use paint. So there's the town pretty much done. We're going to do a very light dry brush of metal on top of that to separate it from the others. Give it a very slight industrial nature to it. Don't mind so much if it mixes into the roads and stuff. It's just a hint of metal in there. You get me? bit more on that edge. It's looking nice on the metallization there. Don't want too much, see, and I do want it to mix into the grey. That's very nice. That came out perfectly, how I envisioned. And I didn't use much metal at all, which hasn't smegged my brush up. Which is good. Very slightly shiny. So, mineral deposits, let's finish them off with a lighter blue. Sky blue, pretty much. Let's give all the stones a lick with this. Straight over the top of the other existing blue. Make sure you don't get it all on there. Just cover up the existing dry brush of desert colour. After all, these are mineral deposits. They're not fully exposed, so there would be multiple shades coming through. Hello, bunny. Aww. Wants to join in. Hopefully there will be time to do the rim. Should be. The videos usually cut off at about half an hour in due to the massive memory usage. Could lower the quality, but who does that? It's not very watery, this blue. Actually a bit of a dry brush again. Won't take long at all though. Make sure I get all of these mineral deposits. Don't want to miss one, because that'll look weird once it's finished. Nicely. Now let's do the rim colour. That is the rim around the thing. This will require the most paint. And I will be putting black on the inside. Check the thumbnail and check my Dakka Dakka for more images of these tiles. There's a link in the description of the video. I will also post this in the thumbnail in a finished state. Let's open our pot a bit more to get it on there nice and thick this time. As you can see, this stuff does not adhere good to the black, which means multiple layers obviously, but it does dry quite quick. This colour or shade of paint. A bit of hair on there or something. Bunny fur. Damn it. because she's hopping around me. She's molting the last of her fur. Again, a lovely winter coat. As you can see, it looks better with the rim. Makes the tone and the tile itself stand out lovely. Need some more on that rim. The mineral deposit side, you know. It's a bit lower down. A bit more level to the tile itself. Probably go over this again on the rim at least, and put a black border in the middle as well around the inside. It's a nice contrast. Show you what I mean in a sec. First time. That's the mineral deposit side done. Very lovely, as you can see. Focus. There we go. Emeralds of the desert. And here's one I made previously. That's what it looks like with the black border. That one's completely concreted, as you can see. Whereas the one I've just done, and that has rubies instead in its agricultural desert. Whereas this one has, as you can see, got rubies and emeralds. Very pretty indeed. Looks a bit better once they dry. Take brighter images and post them on my Dakka. Keep an eye out. Let's do some more on this with the rim, which is still a bit off. Might as well continue painting until the video ends. Should be able to. As I said, check my Dakka Dakka page. Link in the description. For 1,000+ images, nearly 1,500 images of my previous work. More to come also through winter, as I'm not stupid enough to work in low temperatures, so. But it's okay. I can sort of take a break from my usual harsh routine of pouring 1,000-degree metal, or thereabouts, or laboriously making lots of jewellery. Some of the other things that I do, apart from painting models, miniatures. A little bit thick, that. Not an issue. This rim could use a little bit more on it. Want it to match the other one. Shade, still have to do the black inner border. Chops break the tile out. Showed that on the previous tile there, the one I've just recently done. That's a concrete town ruin, whereas this one is a bit metalized. So I'd like to make them all slightly different. If I have any duplicate tiles. Because this one is a bit shiny. Look at that. Bit metallic. The roads. Pretty cool. Well, I think so. Might do a little dry brush of grey over the top of it. It's still dry enough on the rim anyway. As it is very metallic. Bit much compared to the other tile. Just get a bit more grey on there. It's not enough around the rim edges anyway. There's a town ruin after all. More of that grey stuff. Grey dry brush. A lot of the metal will still show through, just won't be as prominent. But it'll still be nice and industrial. Yeah, I can still see a bit of the metal underneath that. Very good. Come on, focus. There we go. As you can see, a little bit of the metal showing through. Less. That's a bit better. Because I don't want it looking like the buildings were all made of metal, after all. Still more to do on this rim. It's not fully painted. It's quite thin layer on that. It's not going on properly. What's going on there? Not enough on the brush. There you go. Much better. Slip a little bit on the inside, won't matter. So I'll be giving that a black border, as I've said. Anyway, this tile is pretty much done. So the town hexagon tile, how to paint it, how to dry brush and layer also. Whole lot of things learned today in this painting tutorial. It's one I've done before. As you can see, that one's much brighter than this one. This is a bit metally. And it also isn't fully dried yet. May actually dry brush even more on top of that. Just look how bright that is compared to. Yeah, there's not enough paint on this. Let's get a big chunk on there. Get a nice amount of grey. Yeah, it doesn't look like there was much paint on the brush to begin with. Catching all the tops of the ruins there. A little bit brighter. A little bit. Well, that one's almost white there. Very brighter colour. different shade actually. It's almost white compared to that one. Although I do want a different colour anyway, as I did mention. It's a bit wet on the rim. Final colour, matte black. On the inner rim. Very strong colour, this black, so very simple to paint on the inside. Got a nice black border in there. Which contrasts nicely with the terrain. Got a bit in the map there, don't want that. Watery brush, we'll bring it back out. Damn it, quite a lot going in there. Brush it in. After all, there is brown underneath, you remember. Black does end up in the watery sort